Today I'm going to give my opinion as to why I don't think the Conor McGregor and Logan Paul fight will happen. And it's kind of sad that this is even a talking point. And listen, little disclaimer, I'm all for influencer fights. I am all for the crossover fights. I don't mind. The Darren Till Tommy Fury fight, I was all for it. And I tend to think if this was any other MMA fighter who was retired going up against Logan Paul in a boxing match, I probably wouldn't even mind it that much. But there's something about this matchup that just feels sad. The last few years, it just feels like McGregor has constantly been getting negative press. Assaults, grape charges, drinking, doing drugs. It's constantly negative news with McGregor. And then when you combine that with the fact that he still wants to fight and he constantly has these fights fall through all the time with the UFC, but then he's continually teasing us that he is getting a fight set up, it just feels like McGregor is maybe holding on to something that is now gone. And as a McGregor fanboy, I don't want to say that. There is that little 1% inside of me that believes that McGregor can come back and he can win the world title and he can go on another run again, and then the emotion dies down and the logical side of my brain kicks in, the other 99%, and goes, Shaun, don't be a divvy. Of course that's not going to happen. So it feels like McGregor's kind of clasping at straws, is that the saying, with this fight. It's like a quick, easy payday for him. And to briefly talk about this payout, both fighters could potentially earn up to $250 million in a mega fight set for Mumbai's friggin' I'm going to get demonetized saying that. Wankhede Stadium as part of Visit India tourism campaign. Now, the family supposedly putting this fight on are the Ambani family, the richest in India. I don't know who the billionaire is. I think he's anonymous, but who's asked anyway. Putting down $500 million on the fight purses alone for this fight is absolutely ridiculous. And it won't happen. I don't care if you're a billionaire or not. No billionaire would put down that much money just for the fight purses. Think of it this way: Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, one of the biggest fights in boxing this year, if not the biggest fight. It was the rematch. What was Tyson Fury reported to make? Around 40-50 million. Usyk was reported to make around 30 million. I've seen a few reports saying that Usyk's fight purse was inflated, and it was initially said that he was going to get paid 60 million for the fight, but he didn't. It was about half of that. But whatever, you're still looking at $100 million prize pool for the biggest fight in boxing. And then we're talking about Logan Paul versus Conor McGregor, who some would call a has-been, who's no longer relevant anymore, getting $500 million between them. Then also think about the cost of the entire promotion as well. You're looking at another 5 million, I don't know, 10 million, depending on how big he wants to go with the promotion. If this billionaire wants to try and rival the Saudi Arabia promotions, he's going to have to put a lot down there. And then with all the marketing on top of that, and then other fights on the card, and then the staff, and then all the other costs that you don't even think about, you're probably talking around 530 million just to put on this fight. Now, would this fight garner enough attention in terms of pay-per-views to even make that money back? No, not even a fraction of it. And the reason being is because this Ambani family, they haven't got a clue how to put on fights. At least when you look at Saudi Arabia, they've done quite a few now. They've built the fights up, they've built the promotions up. You remember watching the first few Saudi Arabia boxing cards? They were crap. The crowd was dead. The stands were empty. There was TikToks which were going viral of people walking around the event, and everyone looked knackered. Everyone looked dead. Everyone looked like they couldn't be arsed.
Famous heavyweight boxing, massive atmosphere. Sort it out. Absolute bullshit. There's a ring. It's in a totally separate arena in part of the stadium, and you can't get in there. It's too busy. So
actually feels like a convention.
Who's just arrived. I don't know ring. I don't know if the ring's coming from the rafters. Yeah, as you can see, absolutely no atmosphere at all. So as you can see on the screen, that's where the undercard is, in a totally separate part of the stadium arena.
Big fight like this, and it's so flat.
Take a look at this. Fabio Wardley about to start.
People sitting on the curbs, on the grass verges. There's actually people asleep in the concourse. Very tense for being polite. You can literally hear people on the other side of the stadium.
Look at the UFC, the first few times they went to the Middle East, it wasn't that great. The audience aren't really tuned in to the fights. They're not great fight fans, especially when compared to the Americans or the Aussies or the Brits.
Fucking diabolical. I'm sorry, but the atmosphere is not working for me. I mean, it's flat as you like, empty seats everywhere. Eddie Hills was saying that it's sold out, 12,000, but It's not the case, is it? There was empty seats everywhere. Ringside seats were empty. People were coming and going, same old, same old. You feel like there's no interest in the boxing sometimes with the fans. It's almost like they've been dragged there and they've gone there against their will. And you've got top level, elite level fights going off. And I don't know. I'm still on the fence with how it works out in Saudi Arabia in terms of the boxing and the atmosphere. I think boxing, out of loads of sports, you can pick so many sports, boxing is the one sport that needs an atmosphere.
This fight right here, McGregor and Logan Paul, would be the first fight card that they've put on, and they're going to go that big with the prize pool. I'm telling you, lads, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. I think we can all agree as well that McGregor is probably a nightmare to negotiate with, and probably the same for Logan Paul as well. One thing that I forgot to say in my previous video, and it's the most obvious, most glaring point that I should have said and we should have all considered, McGregor is still under contract with the UFC. He's still got 2 fights left on his contract. He's had those 2 fights left on his contract for the last, 3 years. The UFC aren't going to allow this. I mean, maybe they could, because Logan Paul is in the WWE, Conor McGregor in the UFC. The UFC and WWE are both under the same parent company, so it doesn't really matter. And that company is TKO. So TKO could negotiate with the Barney family and get a little bit of a cut of the money, but I don't think there'd be any profit anyway. So that's probably another cost. The Barney family wouldn't be able to guarantee any profits because they wouldn't have a clue how to market the fight. The pay-per-views would be crap. Everyone would just watch the fight the next day on YouTube, or they would just illegally stream it. So the UFC would want a fat wedge of money from the Barney family. So put that on top of the 530 million as well. Just another reason why this fight probably wouldn't happen. Another reason why this fight is probably not going to happen is because Jake Paul has already shut down the claims of this fight happening, or the claims that McGregor is in negotiations with Logan Paul. And the video explaining this that I'm about to show you is from this YouTube channel, Punch Plan. So shout out to them for this video.
Jake Paul's team has just responded to reports of Conor McGregor versus Logan Paul. As the Mac Life posted, Conor McGregor and Logan Paul are to feature as part of a historic Visit India tourism campaign as the pair clash in Mumbai's iconic Wankhede Stadium. The two will be well rewarded for their efforts, with McGregor set to walk away with $250 million, making the fight one of the most financially rewarding in history. The event will be funded by the Ambani family dynasty, the richest in India. Most Valuable Promotions, which is Jake Paul's promotional company and boxing team, has responded saying, cap on cap on cap, pretty much shutting down and saying that this is all cap, this is all fake news, hinting at the fact that they won't be making $250 million each.
So there you go, the most reliable source on the internet, Jake Paul. He said cap on cap on cap. And another reason this fight might not happen is because there is rumors that they are targeting April of this year, which is very, very soon. That's not really a lot of time to market. Okay, it's 4 months away, but I just can't see it. Now, my source for this isn't exactly super legit. It's from and I'm kind of ashamed to say it's from a Misfits podcast. Here you go.
Last episode, we spoke about the Conor McGregor fight rumors against Logan Paul, and we actually received a tip from an anonymous source stating there are deep negotiations for the fight. Conor is interested, so is Logan. They are targeting April of next year. The UFC are involved and in talks. It is all moving in the right direction, claiming it is 80% likely to happen.
Interpret that however you wish. So is this fight going to happen? Most likely not. If it did happen, would I actually watch it? Of course, it'd be great for the channel. A lot of you subscribers have came through the influencer stuff, and then I've had a lot of subscribers come through Conor McGregor content, so yeah, it would be good for the channel. But I'm going to make a controversial statement to end this video. If this fight did happen, I think there's a high probability that Conor McGregor would somehow find a way to lose. So what do you think of that? Comment all your thoughts down below. Appreciate all the love on the channel recently. And 2 things for you. YouTube thinks that you will like this video from this channel, and I've also just uploaded a new video to my fitness channel. So if you're on your 2025 fitness grind, this one might be for you. Take your pick, and I'll see you tomorrow.